Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Oh, it's about to get real here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And yes, we are back to our regular scheduled program. And this is just to say that we are back to doing our regular weekly podcast episodes because I did have that special episode on Monday, or I recorded it on Monday, where I did the special D23 episode where I had my special guest Tony Goldmark, aka Some Jerk with a Camera, and let me just say I had a wonderful time. It was a fantastic episode, and I was so glad that I got to collaborate with Tony on this one. It truly was a magical experience just doing that episode. It really was a lot of fun, and hopefully someday I will have Tony back as a special guest star. But anyways, now that I did have all those Disney news out of the way, now it's time that we go back to the things we usually talk about. Some of the crazy news, some of the regular animation news, some of the controversial news, and everything in between. So this is definitely going to be an episode where we are going to have some fun. So I would like to ask Chatwall, are you guys ready to check this out? To check this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Yes, guys, are you all ready for this? Do you want to get things started? Come on, let me hear it. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, people are ready. People are all set. And now we can officially go and get things started. But before I go and start off our first story, I want to give you guys a little bit of a warning, because what you are about to see might not be suitable for everyone, because we will be checking out a trailer and it's going to get very brutal. It's going to get very violent. So if you're the kind of person that can't easily handle violence or gore or blood or any of that kind of stuff, then maybe this section of the episode might not necessarily be for you. So I'll give you some time to go and you know, try to look the other way or try to do something else. Okay, good. So, for the rest of you that wants to stay, then let's go ahead and start things off with our first story by checking out the, which one is it? Yes, okay, there we go. So, we're gonna go and start off by checking out the trailer for Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal. So, let's go ahead and check this out now. Yeah, this is definitely no joke. And that was Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal, the upcoming series on Adult Swim. And I think it really shows that what the main selling point about this whole series is the element of survival. It's not necessarily for the story or to see the character development of any of these characters. Like, maybe there will be some, but we're not going to get a whole lot. But this whole thing is mainly about the aspect of survival, where you got this caveman teaming up with this dinosaur in order to just survive, to fight off against all these different monsters, these prehistoric creatures and all that kind of stuff, in order to go and fight food and to make sure that they can stay alive so that, you know, they are the hunters and they are not hunted. That's the main premise. That seems to be the main idea that this trailer is selling to us. And it's basically a series that it's really trying to sell us on the action. I mean, since it is about survival, you want to see how the caveman and the dinosaur, they're going to put their survival to the ultimate test. So they're going to be facing off all these different monsters. And I have already discussed this before on AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. We did had the teaser trailer, but with this one in particular, now that we got a full trailer, this one really does highlight a lot of what people would want to expect, what would be like the main selling points of it, and that is the action and seeing all the different creatures that the caveman and the dinosaur are going to be interacting with, especially at the ending bit when you see like all the different animals just like making their big roar. Like over here, like we got a T-Rex or a raptor or like this weird caveman guy or a giant spider or this giant bat monster. Like, it's to go and really sell on the action. So, of course, the animation component is going to be highly important for this series. And I just gotta say, in terms of the animation that we are seeing, yeah, this actually does look very legit and surprisingly well crafted, even by television animation standards or even by Adult Swim standards. This is actually pretty solid, where you see a lot of the movements that they are pretty fluid, and especially how this entire visual style is bringing out this massive comic book look. A lot of people are saying that a massive inspiration would be Conan the Barbarian or a lot of the artwork by Frank Frazetta, and a lot of it really does show, because this is supposed to be a full-on macho series. Like, I know the old term is like manly, but nowadays I think it's more suited and more correct to consider it more macho, because this is more heavily lenient on the action. This is more lenient on the monsters. This is more lenient on seeing like these big muscular guys going after these big scary monsters. That's kind of the whole point of the whole series, is to watch this and somehow, like, regardless of your gender, like, somehow you'll grow some testosterones, and whenever some action is gonna happen, like, everybody is gonna go, yeah, all right, awesome, you know, do all that kind of crazy stuff. And they do give us a little taste in terms of the action to see how the caveman is going to do his best in order to go and survive with the help of his dinosaur friend. And of course, then you would also have the element of the violence. Of course, that's going to be something that it's not necessarily for everyone, but I think this is going to be something that they're going to spare no expense to make sure that they can really deliver on the violence. And probably one great example is, I need to find this shot. Okay, yeah, it's right over here. Boom! Like, when you have this monkey creature that is going after the caveman, but the caveman, I gotta ask you guys, have you ever seen someone get punched so hard that they split in half? Because that's essentially what we're seeing here. Like, we got monkey creature, we got giant fist, and somehow now the monkey is entirely split in half. It's just like, here's the top half, here's the bottom half, and if you need any proof, you can look into the details. You see the intestines, you can see the spine separating from the other bones. Like, it is nasty, but this is the selling point. Like, if you want to see some gratuitous violence, then this is it. This is gonna be Genndy Tartakovsky's nastiest project, where he's gonna let it all out. Like, whatever violence that he couldn't do before, like, not even for Samurai Jack, and especially not for his kid-friendly series, like now he's able to do things that he could never do before, and now has the creative freedom to pretty much have fun with violence, to have fun with the action scenes, and to really go all out, even more so than with Samurai Jack, because that one still had a bit of a PG-13 rating, even though that one, like, that final season, of course, is a lot more violent than the previous seasons, where we see a lot more blood and we see a lot more nastier deaths. But this one right over here, well, I don't think even Jack would be able to go and do this. Like, he wouldn't break someone's face into pieces so much that the entire body is split in half and you see, like, the jaw just flying on the side. That is never gonna happen there, but now Genndy Tartakovsky has this major opportunity at Adult Swim where he could just have so much fun with the violence. But even though with all the violence that he is presenting, there is one comment, though, that I gotta say, maybe they are taking it a little too far. that honestly, even looking at it, maybe they went a little bit too brutal. And it's something that I would like to go directly to Adult Swim and have a quick talk with the Primal team. And I just want to ask, I just gotta know, like, where is it? What did this mammoth do to you guys? Like, what did this mammoth do to deserve a massive killing from the caveman and the dinosaur? Because if you look at this thing, I mean, the elephant is, the mammoth is already so sympathetic enough as it is. He looks entirely beaten up. He looks completely down on his luck. He's missing a tusk. Like, he's already got some hair removed from him. Like, he's already in terrible shape as it is. And then suddenly, like, you gotta have, like, the freaking caveman to come in right out of nowhere to stab the mammoth in the back, quite literally. And then on top of that, you also gotta get the dinosaur to just come in on the side, like, to chomp on his neck. And, like, what makes it even worse, what was probably the element that I feel like is taking a little too far, is the part where the caveman takes a rock and continuously stabs the mammoth in the eye. It's like, come on, don't you think you're going a little too far with this one? I mean, unless there's a little bit of a backstory with this mammoth, you gotta keep in mind, I haven't seen this series. As I'm recording this, the show is not out yet. Maybe there's some kind of backstory where this mammoth in particular, like, this guy is cruel. He is so evil. Like, this mammoth took the child of the caveman and just stomped it to death. Maybe there's a reason why we want to see this mammoth to die. But other than that, I feel like maybe they're just taking it too far. It's just like, come on, man. It's just a mammoth that's down on his luck. Does he really need to be beaten up this bad? Do you really have to stab him and literally poke his eye out? It's just, come on, man. Leave this elephant alone. Leave the mammoth alone. Go pick on someone your own size. Go punch more monkeys in half. Like, I'm sure that monkey will still have some sustenance in him. Like, if you're just doing it for the sake of food, then just do that, man. Like, this mammoth, man, cut the mammoth some slack. Or unless it's one of the mammoths from, like, the Ice Age sequels or something, like, oh, like in Ice Age 5, where you got this one dumb mammoth, like, he was supposed to marry Ray Romano's daughter of a mammoth, and the mammoth guy's like, hey, cool, you're gonna be my father-in-law. Like, if it's that mammoth, maybe I'll give him a pass, because, like, that character was massively annoying in Ice Age 5, much like everything else in Ice Age 5, but other than that, like, holy crap, that's just taking it to the extreme. Maybe we'll know more, but for now, it's just, come on, caveman, leave that mammoth alone. But, okay, all jokes aside, let's leave that thing on the side. I would say that overall with this series, yeah, it's definitely selling on what this series is supposed to be about. It's not necessarily about the story. This is not necessarily a story that you would find much complex characters. This is all about the survival. It's all about the action. And with what this trailer is presenting us, it's promising us a series that can have a lot of potential and something that people can just have a lot of fun with, to just have a lot of macho moments, a lot of crazy action, and to see some creative monsters. And already with the animation style, it does look pretty solid. It does look like a series that could have a very strong cult following, and who knows, maybe there will be some surprises. Maybe I might actually be wrong, and maybe there is, like, this strong, compelling story inside, and that there really is a lot of deep character developments that's gonna happen with the caveman or the dinosaur. Like, I could totally be wrong on that, and it could deliver a massive surprise. But so far, I'm gonna say, for the kind of series that it is, it definitely looks surprising, and I could definitely see that this is going to be a show on Adult Swim that will have a prominent audience. So, as it states here, the show is going to be coming out on October 7th on Adult Swim, and it will be airing at midnight, if it says here correctly. Yes, it's going to be apparently starting on Monday, October 7th at midnight. they will do a 5-night premiere event. So during that week, during the start of October, they are going to be presenting a lot of Primal to really give audiences their first taste of the series. And honestly, I really am excited, especially the fact that this is going to be a new side of Genndy Tartakovsky we have yet to see, and it's going to feel massively refreshing because throughout this decade, all we have seen from Genndy Tartakovsky is just Hotel Transylvania and the final season of Samurai Jack. Well, technically, yeah, there is Symbionic Titan as well, but that was like right at the beginning of the decade. My point is that it's been a long time since we've seen something new and something creatively different from Genndy Tartakovsky, and this feels massively refreshing. So yeah, honestly, I feel like this is going to be a series to look out for. And if this is the kind that if you are the kind of person that you are interested in checking out like gratuitous violence, if you want to see macho moments, if you want to see a lot of crazy action with big monsters, then Primal is definitely for you. So with that said, I would like to go and ask the chat wall about what do you guys think about Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal? Is this a series that you guys would be interested in checking out? Do you think you're gonna pass on this one? Let me know what you guys think. Okay, let me see here. We got some comments already going on. Let's see. I am very excited for this series. It's very bloody, it's very violent, yet the animation is very well done. Each animal and character also have a different distinct style. I am hopeful this is going to be Genndy's best show next to Samurai Jack and Dexter's Laboratory. It's definitely The Good Dinosaur meets Watership Down. Ooh, I could debate on that, because honestly, from what we are seeing right now, not even Watership Down would go to this level. Like, already, in terms of what we are seeing just in this 2-minute trailer alone, we've gotten much more nasty than anything that we have seen in Watership Down, or at the very least, in the 1978 movie. Is it 1978? Actually, let me double check on that. Just want to quickly inspect. Yep, 1978. Yes, that's right. I just had to, I had to go and consolidate with my Blu-ray. I mean, like, it's pretty useful when you do have a Blu-ray collection. You can just quickly go and check it out, especially when it's right next to your desk. Okay, anyways, let's go and see what else do we have. Primal, for me, feels like it's going to be one of the most unique adult cartoons in our current time, since it appears to be not a comedy and is heavily reliant on character actions rather than dialogue. Also, I think they just killed the mammoth because they were hunting for food. Yeah, but still, that's a bit of a douchebag. Look at this. I mean, like, look at this mammoth. It's so sympathetic, and it doesn't look like the meat is gonna be good either. Like, considering how it's so beaten up and stuff like that, the blood is already, like, a lot of blood is out of its system. Like, come on, does this look tasty? Like, still, man, it's still kind of a douchey move. Like, there's tastier things out there than this mammoth. So I'm just saying, like, maybe you are right. Maybe they are just doing it. Maybe they are just doing it to hunt for food. But still, it's like, come on. There are better things to eat than this sympathetic mammoth. All right. Let's see. Oh my God. So, AniMat's being an SJW when criticizing killing the mammoth. Oh my God. I hope you are doing that ironically. Oh my God, do we seriously have anti-SJWs in the chat wall? Like, are people really that easily triggered on that? Okay, anyways, going back to actually mentally functioning comments, let's see here. I agree with you that this will definitely be the most gruesome show made by Genndy Tartakovsky. This show looks like a cross between Samurai Jack meets The Croods. The violence is pretty gruesome, but it's the most gross show on Adult Swim, as that honor goes to Mr. Pickles. Also, what if the reason this mammoth was gruesomely killed so bad was because Genndy was sick and tired of Blue Sky making Ice Age movies and just wanted to kill Manny the Mammoth as a relief of all his family drama? No. That would not be the case at all, because if Genndy Tartakovsky actually wants to do something in order to let out some anger of the Ice Age, it has to be Sid. Because I think, like, if you would go and ask anybody about the Ice Age franchise, that if you have to go and kill one, I think that one of the first ones that people would go to would be immediately Sid. Just kill off that guy immediately. Or maybe some people would say, like, some random character from the sequels, like the two stupid possums or whatever, but nah, I think, like, Manny would not necessarily be top of the list of characters that should die in the Ice Age franchise. That title would definitely belong to Sid. Like, maybe I'm wrong, or you know what? Write down in the comments below which Ice Age character you think should die first. Oh my god, already this thing has become gruesome. Like, just these talks. Like, right now, I'm challenging the gruesomeness of this freaking trailer. Oh my god, I am having a blast right over here. Okay, let's see, what else do we got here? This reminds me of a video game I played called Ark Survival Edition. It's a human being surviving in a world filled with dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals, either tame them or hunting them down. Heck, the giant spider looks very much like the Araneos from Ark. I wouldn't be surprised that Genndy was heavily inspired by the game, the same way he was inspired by Frank Miller's Ronin to make Samurai Jack. That would be the case. That could be. Oh my god, the chat wall has started to go and list down people that they're already listing, like, okay, let's see. Maybe we could kill off Scrat, or maybe Crash and Eddie, or how about Sid, or wow, like, people, oh my god, like, people are really going, oh my god. Honestly, just by looking into the chat wall, a lot of people are listing down Scrat. Like, people want Scrat to go. Wow. What do you guys have against Scrat? I did not expect that at all. Okay. Oh, Scrat can't die. He is a god. Yes, that is true. He did create the freaking universe. I mean, like, have you seen all the Ice Age movies? Like, Scrat is the one that created our world as we know it today. Okay, let's see now. As long as I want Genndy Tartakovsky to work for Disney, but with Primal, he's able to work on adult animation, very bloody, very violent. I'm 24 years old, and I'm interested into checking this out. I wish him the best of luck with this and Fixed. Okay, well, we'll see if he actually does Fix. For me, I still feel like that is kind of iffy if Sony is going to keep letting him do that, but hey, at least we still got Primal, so at least we still got that side of him. Let's see. Oh, and some people are saying kill the llama. Okay, I'm gonna go and read one more comment before we move on to our next story. So, absolutely looking forward to Primal. It's well animated, it's well detailed in the most goriest way as possible. The style is kind of like Conan, but I'm getting more of a Ralph Bakshi's Fire and Ice vibe, so basically Frank Frazetta, and the 1994 video game Primal Rage as well. P.S. Have you played the Primal Rage video game since it's gore and dinosaurs? Honestly, no, I have not. So let me just have a little drink here. Okay, so with that said, I think we are all good with Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal, which again is going to start on October 7th. And now we are going to move on to our next story. And if you think things have already gotten crazy here in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast with our story with Primal, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet with our next story, because it's about to get nuts. And I don't know about you guys, but there's something about this week that really turned Twitter into a massive war zone. Like, I have never seen Twitter, like, this angry, this much of a dumpster fire because of a few controversies that happened here and there, so much so that even I was overwhelmed and I had to take a bit of a Twitter vacation, which I am still taking a little bit right now. Not as much, I am slowly, like, checking back on things, but oh my god, it has been absolutely insane. Like, a lot of drama that just came and went, so much so that, no joke, it has gotten so toxic on Twitter that I would feel a lot more comfortable, and I feel like we would have much more civil discussions if we would talk about politics. You know, it's like you see what's happening on Twitter and you're like, okay, let's see what Donald Trump is up to. What kind of crazy shenanigans he's up to now. It's kind of like that thing that happened. So, of course, like, it started out with the whole pro-Jared controversy. And just when you think things have already died down, that people have already accepted what happened, and that we have all moved on from the situation, things reignited once again when Funimation came into the scene. Yes, apparently there have been leaked recordings, allegedly coming from the Dragon Ball Z cast, making some pretty offensive jokes. Now, here's the scenario of what happened exactly. There is a YouTuber who would talk a lot about law by the name of Nick Rekieta. He pretty much put out some leaked audio on his live stream that allegedly states that it is from Funimation, and these were the recordings that, of course, they were not used from Dragon Ball Z. Like, it all happened while the voice actors were recording Dragon Ball Z, but this all happened in between their takes where they were just making jokes and stuff like that. But the jokes apparently seem to have gotten a little too far. As it states here, reading from my source here on IGN, while they vary in subject matter and the levels of offensiveness, one particularly egregious clip seemingly involves Schemmel, which, by the way, is Sean Schemmel, the voice of Goku, speaking as Goku, hurling homophobic slurs at the character's son. Another Dragon Ball clip uses licensed music in the background, while multiple characters play on an audio drama about sodomy. A brief recording also apparently features the voice of Chi-Chi making an incest-related joke. And this was something that apparently really got trending on Twitter, and many people were just absolutely shocked when they were hearing all this audio of all the different Dragon Ball Z characters making these highly offensive jokes. And once again, it just reignited on Twitter and just made a dumpster fire out of it. Now, I don't know if as I'm recording this, like, this is still going on Twitter, but this was something that just recently, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Let me just get back. Okay, there we go. So that's pretty much the whole situation. And Funimation declined to go and comment. They said that Funimation has no comment regarding to this whole story. And a lot of people are wondering what is going to happen to the future of Dragon Ball Z. Is it still going to be connected with Funimation? Are the actors going to still have their jobs? Like, what's going to happen? And I did hear a little bit of some of the jokes that have been said about I did hear a little bit of the leaked recordings, and yeah, I definitely do see how there is an initial reaction of shock regarding some of this humor, because a lot of it is for the sake of edgy jokes, but a lot of these are jokes that don't necessarily fly in this day and age, that they definitely are not cool. And even though, like, there is no absolute confirmation that this is all from Funimation, and these, maybe there is actual confirmation that these are from Funimation actors, but yeah, I do feel like if that really is the case, then maybe some of the actors should step up and say, that they're sorry. They should apologize and say that they were wrong in this scenario, because in this culture, in this day of multiculturalism and diversity, we shouldn't really be doing these jokes anymore. Like, we are a bit above that. And yeah, and I could, honestly, I do understand how it did get trending, how a lot of people were pretty much shocked about this, where these jokes, yeah, they're not really cool anymore. We don't live in the age of South Park, so, just apologize for making these stupid, edgy jokes. That's all I'm asking. However, I would like to say this, though. Even though, yes, these clips are absolutely shocking. Yes, these jokes are pretty offensive. One thing that I would like to say, though, is that to anyone who is still upset about this news, For anyone who is absolutely furious of the fact that the Dragon Ball Z actors would make these offensive jokes during the recordings of Funimation, like, if you really are this mad about the leaks, then honestly, I just gotta say, holy crap, it is pretty funny that you guys know literally nothing about the voiceover industry. I mean, holy crap, what you just experienced right there is a taste of something that just commonly happens. I mean, here's the thing, yes, as offensive as they can be, you guys have no idea how this is very commonplace in every voiceover session for so many different kinds of TV shows. I mean, like, Nick Ricado over here, like, he could go on and say, like, what is it, like, he tries to say that, oh, this violates Funimation's own workplace guidelines. Like, I'll just say right now, there is no such thing as a legitimate studio that would follow any of these guidelines if these guidelines do legitimately exist. It happens all the frickin' time when you would see the voice actors making offensive jokes as their characters, especially with kids programs. Like, when they would go and record animated kids shows, then there is a guarantee that in between those takes, that they would make these offensive jokes related to violence, related to sex, or they would, they would throw out these random slurs, because these are things that are in between takes, and it gives the actors the liberty to just goof off and do things that they know for a fact that it's never going to air on TV. Like, think about a TV show, think about an animated series, and I can guarantee you for a fact that they would do stuff like this, that there would be those, like, in-between moments that they would make these offensive jokes. SpongeBob SquarePants, abso-frickin-lutely. The Powerpuff Girls, hell yeah. Avatar: The Last Airbender, you bet. Fairly Odd Parents, for sure. Powerpuff Girls, or did I say Powerpuff Girls? Dexter's Laboratory, absolutely. No matter which one it is, there's always going to be an offensive joke. Adventure Time, Steven Universe, even some of the modern stuff, it's like people are still doing that to this day. And honestly, I can even tell you firsthand that it does happen all the time. I have actually done some voiceover work for companies, not just for my video, but like, I actually do get some voiceover gigs, and that I would have to drive to the studios to do some recordings for them. And whenever we would do a project that is geared more towards kids, then it is very common that, like, me and the other actors and the sound editors and the sound mixers and the voice directors, that oftentimes, sometimes we would just goof off and we would make these kinds of offensive adult humor. It happens all the frickin' time, man. What you have witnessed, what is leaked, is just a little taste of what actually happens in recording studios. This is what this is honestly the common life of a voice actor. This is nothing really special. So, with that said though, why is it that this is so controversial? Why is it that we see this massively trending, that this really got so popular? Why is it that we see, like, Funimation get trending and a lot of people think that, oh, they're in trouble now? Well, I'll tell you why, and it's mainly because it's trying to push an agenda. The reason why this is even controversial in the first place is mainly because of the Vic Mignogna controversy. You guys are probably familiar with the Vic Mignogna controversy. This is pretty much... Actually, hold on a sec. Excuse me. Okay, now I feel much better. Now, the thing is, you probably heard about the controversy of Vic Mignogna. He's an English dub anime voice actor, getting the usual #MeToo movement treatment, where he has... where there have been numerous of accusations of him sexually harassing not just fellow voice actresses, but also a lot of con-goers, and a lot of really terrible stories of him just really abusing his power in order to sexually abuse women. And it's just, like, a lot of the things are absolutely terrible of the things that he has been accused of. And unlike most of the other cases, Vic and his fans are trying to fight back by saying that it's not true, and right now there is a court case going on where Vic is trying to sue Funimation and a few of the people that have accused Vic of sexual assault and sexual harassment and all that kind of stuff. Vic is trying to sue them for defamation and all that kind of stuff. So the thing, and especially with the case of Nick Rekieta, this is actually a guy who's one of the most prominent faces who is full on pro-Vic. Like, he is a massive supporter of Vic Mignogna, and he always tries his hardest to make sure that he wants to prove Vic to be fully innocent, and that anyone who accuses him of being guilty are full-on liars, that only Vic is telling the truth and everyone is telling a lie for some magical reason. And on a side note, I just want to say, though, that a lot of people may point out that Nick Rekieta is actually a lawyer, which in reality, no, he's not. He is not a lawyer at all. That is that is something that is just fully made up by Nick Rekieta to make himself look good. Because the truth of the matter is, if this guy actually, I don't care in whichever place that he studied on law and stuff like that, if he was a real lawyer, then he wouldn't be spending much time as he is right now trying to make YouTube videos and try to go and make as much live stream as he is right now. Like, if he is a real lawyer, he would actually be spending his job actually doing lawyer stuff instead of the crap that he's doing now. Like, Nick Rekieta is as much of a lawyer as much as Lionel Hutz is in The Simpsons. So I just want to go and lay that out right now. So of course, with all this, it's to really try to go and push the agenda that Vic is good and Funimation is bad, because Funimation is one of the defendants that Vic is suing, and that Funimation is one of the people that did do their own independent investigation, and they discovered that, yes, Vic is actually guilty, and they had to go and kick him out in the situation. Which I need to go and say right now, in this case right over here, about some of the leaks that they have found out, what does this prove about Vic? What do these leaks in particular prove that Vic is innocent? How does it prove that he didn't do any of the things that he has been accused of? This has nothing to do with any of the sexual harassment and sexual assault claims. This doesn't even have anything to do with Vic, period. Like, if you're gonna go and present this in that court case, the judge is gonna look at this and go, well, who cares? This thing is irrelevant. Like, this honestly proves nothing. All this proves is how the Vic fans, like Nick Rekieta, is just desperate. Because that's the thing, that's the reality with these Vic fans and these Vic supporters and these hashtag I stand with Vic people, is that they are always so desperate to scrape at the bottom of the barrel, so much so that they are scratching down the surface till their fingers are bleeding, or they won't even stop, like, after their fingers are bleeding, to find something, just a little thing, to fully antagonize anybody who has a different opinion than them, who doesn't stand with Vic, because they fully have the mentality of you're either with us or or you are our enemy, that if you don't stand with Vic, if you don't think he's fully 100% innocent, then you should be punished, you should be taken down like the rest of the SJWs. And they are so desperate to find anything, like they would even take something like this, it's like, see, they're making offensive jokes, they're trying to say bad things, they would go in the recording studio and say bad things, they're evil, Funimation is evil, we must burn all the witches, burn the SJWs! Like, they are so desperate to find anything, even if it has no connection to Vic whatsoever. And honestly, this is something that also proves that not only are those people absolutely desperate, but they are massive hypocrites as well. Like, as time moved on, the Vic fans are pretty much revealing more and more and more that they are so hypocritical. Like, they are so desperate to be right, to the point that they don't care about logic, they don't care about facts. They want to do everything they can in order to take down their opponents, even if it seems massively hypocritical. Like, they'll accuse them of doing something, but for them it's okay to do so as long as it's in the name of Vic. Because, okay, and also, here's something to prove my point. Because the Vic fans, they love to play the game of whataboutisms. They love to go pass around, like, whenever there's a logical argument of how Vic actually did do it, like, you're gonna have one Vic fan that's gonna pop out of nowhere and go, well, what if he's innocent? Well, what if all the accusers are liars? Like, they always love to play the what if game. Okay, you know what? Let's turn the tables. I think if you're gonna play the what if game, then I think it's fair for the other people to also do the what if game as well. Now, let's imagine a scenario. What if Vic actually has one of these like, if Vic is in these recordings? Like, what if there's actually a recording where Vic, as his character of Broly, that he would go and make homophobic slurs, or he would make jokes about sodomy, or making incest-related jokes? Like, what if Vic, as Broly, he would do these kinds of jokes in between takes? Imagine that ended up getting leaked. I think it's safe to say that everyone knows so well that the Vic fans are going to do everything they can to make sure that scenario seems like it's no big deal. That they would find every straw man excuse in the world to go and defend Vic, and to make it seem like it doesn't necessarily matter, that it's no big deal, and all that kind of stuff. And also, to add to the element of their hypocrisy, you know very well that all these Vic fans, like, they've done these jokes as well. You know that when they would hang out with their friends, or when they would go and talk online, you know that they would go and make these jokes where they would throw homophobic slurs, or they would make jokes about sodomy, and, make jokes about incest. Like, you could go into a Twitter page of a Vic fan, and I'm sure, like, if you scroll down enough, you'll find at least one that it's an offensive joke in this kind of manner that is no different than like whatever the leaks have revealed that featured the Dragon Ball Z cast. And yet right now they're trying to pretend that they're on a moral high ground, that they think that, oh, this is wrong of Funimation to do so. Shut the hell up, dude. I mean, for God's sake, there's a fine line between making offensive jokes and the things that Vic has been accused of. And that's another major thing why this is not necessarily that much of a big deal than it actually seems. Because there is a fine line between making offensive jokes. Like, yeah, offensive jokes is one thing, and that can be pretty bad. But still, the things that Vic has been accused of is an entirely different story. It's a whole different level that is much more dangerous. It makes more sense to fire Vic for the things that he has been accused of, for the sake of the well-being of many of the other employees at Funimation, especially the voice actresses who has accused Vic and all that kind of stuff. Offensive jokes, not really. It's not something that people would go and fire others for. It's like, oh, you made a bad slur, you're fired. It's like, no, that doesn't work like that, dude. There is no hypocrisy on this level, because making offensive jokes is not as bad as trying to go and actually sexually harass women, okay? Because I think it's safe to say that one accusation doesn't seem as bad as the other. And just to add on to this, I'm trying to think, crap. I wanted to make a point, but no, I think that does kind of cover it a little. Oh, actually, there is also something that I want to add, is regarding one specific conspiracy theory that has often been passed around, because a lot of people are thinking that right now, because of these leaks, and that many people seem to be shocked right now, a lot of people are thinking about, oh, what's going to be the future of Dragon Ball Z and Funimation with Toei? Because one conspiracy theory that's often been passed around by the Vic fans is that Toei is so upset with Funimation because of this whole Vic controversy that there is a chance that they would go and split up. Which I gotta say right now, no, that is not true, and it is never gonna happen. Or at the very least, it's never gonna happen because of Vic. The thing is that I know for a fact that in the long run, it would be bad business for Toei if they decide to go and split up with what could possibly be the biggest corporation that specializes in anime in North America. That would just be a massively bad move right over there. There's no way that Toei is going to be splitting with Funimation just to satisfy a bunch of incels who only represent a tiny fraction of their audience. That's never going to happen at all. So I just want to go and make things clear onto that. So that's honestly the whole scenario that I just want to go and really clarify on this situation. That if I should go and summarize this whole thing, is just, are these if it is true that these leaks are actually from Funimation and that those are actually the actors, are the jokes offensive? Yes. Should the actors apologize for that? Maybe yes. However, is this something that's so bad that the actors are going to get fired? No. Is this something that's so bad that Funimation is going to split up with Funimation? No, that's never going to happen. Toei is not going to split up with Funimation. Is this going to be something that will continue, that we're going to see, or is this going to continue that there will be studios that will have voice actors that will make offensive jokes while recording kids shows and kids movies and stuff like that? Yes, absolutely. Excuse me, just need to burp a little bit. But going back to what I'm talking about, yes. Oh, and also, does this scenario, do the leaks prove that Vic is innocent on all the claims that he has been accused of? Absolutely not. Will this make some kind of impact on the court case where it will be advantageous for Vic and it will hurt the defendants? Absolutely not. So that's the thing. All it is just a major reaction coming from Twitter because just on social media in general, people are just flipping out because they don't understand the voiceover industry. They don't understand how this is often a common thing that does occur. And this is just going to be a situation that's just going to come and go because all it is just people making offensive jokes. It's not that big of a deal. In fact, the majority of people in this situation who have seen this news, they know for a fact it's not that big of a deal and it's not going to make an impact at all regarding the situation with Vic. And we know that Vic, and come on, we know that Vic has done some of these. And if there actually is a case that Vic did do these kinds of offensive jokes while recording as Broly for Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, then I'm not going to scold him for him. I'm not going to scold him for this. I'm not going to say that he's a terrible human being just because of those offensive jokes. For the things that he has been accused of sexual harassment at conventions and at studios, absolutely, but not for offensive jokes. It's not that big of a deal, guys. Come on. Seriously, and this is just nothing but a plot from an incel who pretends to be a frickin' lawyer. That's all it is. It's not that big of a deal. It's offensive, but it's not that big of a deal. That's the whole thing that I just need to cover on this. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, what do you think of this entire controversy with Funimation and the leaked recordings? Do you think that Funimation is in the bad of this situation? Do you think it's not that big of a deal? Do you think it would make much of an impact in Vic's court case? Let me know what you guys think. Let's see. I feel like we have the mindset that voice actors performing in children's shows and movies are 100% squeaky clean as the characters they are performing, but we tend to forget that these are adults who do adult things like drink, swear, make offensive jokes, just like the rest of us. Sure, the jokes they make are a bit too far and is probably worth a slap in the wrist compared to Vic's allegations. Exactly, man! You kind of forget that Voice actors are people too! Voice actors are humans! Sometimes we can do a little bit of mistakes. Sometimes we can make offensive jokes that might seem homophobic or racist or sexist or whatever. We're just freaking human after all. I don't know what Nick is trying to prove here, man. Like, the guy is just desperate to find something. He's like, see, Nick is innocent, Funimation is guilty. Come on, man. It ain't working, man, and you know it. Okay. Let's see now. Jiminy Crickets. This is the Gilbert Gottfried Affleck tsunami joke controversy all over again. But at least Gilbert only did the tsunami joke on Twitter just as a hobby, and he got fired for Affleck just for that. These voice actors did these jobs while they were doing their jobs and for some reason they get away scot-free for a long time. But did joke do you what the frick? But did joke do you think is most tasteless, the tsunami joke or the homophobic joke? What's more egregious than jokes or the but what's more aggravating, the jokes or the butthurt complainers? No, the butthurt complainers are problematic, and the Gilbert Gottfried scenario is a little bit more different. I mean, with Gilbert Gottfried, he did do, like, that's a situation where it's very poor timing. Like, I think, like, he did that tsunami joke while there recently was a tsunami not that long ago that did end up costing lives. So that's a little bit of a different story right there. It's nothing like this. It's nothing like, they're not making, like, you don't really hear that the Dragon Ball Z characters trying to make jokes about, like, the Holocaust, or making right-wing jokes about Nazis killing Jews and stuff like that. They wouldn't go that far. I think it's kind of a different story right there. Let's see now. What else do we have here? As shocking as it is, it's not like it's that bad. I mean, yeah, the jokes are offensive and they may be outdated, but I'm pretty sure if it was something even more offensive, it would be more understandable. Those Twitter people absolutely have no idea what goes on in the voiceover room anyways. Does it ruin the show? No. Is it offensive? Yes. Does it ruin Funimation's reputation? Probably not. So with that said, to loosely quote Eric Cartman, screw you Twitter, I'm going home. Okay, let's see. These Vic fans are trying to do the same thing that the neo-Nazis did, trying to get Disney to fire James Gunn, which is pathetic and stupid. That's essentially it. That's essentially the main plan. And honestly, I just want to put in a bit of a side note, because this is honestly a comment that I've seen reappear, especially this week, and that is regarding cancel culture. Now, the thing is, a lot of people say that they hate cancel culture, or that they would frame cancel culture as a bad thing. That's an absolute lie. And I just want to say, I just want to say right now, you have been lied to. In fact, if we're really gonna go that far, let me just go and, let me go and scruff myself up and, hold on, let me restart this whole podcast. I just need to go and start off by going, if we're gonna start things off with "you have been lied to," we might as well start things off with that. But like I said, with cancel culture, a lot of people say that, oh, they hate it. No, that is not true. People like to think they hate cancel culture, but the truth is, everyone loves cancel culture. They just hate the fact that they cannot control it. And that's what the Vic fans are trying to do. It's not that they hate cancel culture. They want the power of cancel culture all on their own in order to silence others that they don't agree with. They want to use cancel culture in order to silence Funimation, to silence the Vic victims. They want to silence the SJWs, the feminists, the liberals. They want the power of cancel culture all on their own. Like, they can pretend to say that we hate cancel culture is bad, but we all know that's bullcrap, and the people who do say that, they just want cancel culture, like, they want to control cancel culture. That's the main thing that they want. So I just want to go and highlight that all this, like, this is just a strategy to try to put the cancel culture onto Funimation, but I don't think it's really going to work, or at the very least, not in the long run. Like, this is something that will be passed, like, a few days later, it'll be thrown out in the garbage, and Funimation will be back to normal as usual, like nothing happened. Let's see. This is why I don't have a Twitter account, but with Instagram and Facebook instead. Oh man, you're lucky, dude. I feel like this is toxic for anyone that tried to attack someone like the cast of Dragon Ball Z. I feel like this has gone too far. Someone should just condemn them. These guys have no idea what they're talking about. That's all I'm saying. Exactly. It really just goes to show how these Vic fans, they have no idea how the voiceover industry works, and they have no idea how the anime industry works if they keep spreading that rumor about, oh, Toei is not happy with Funimation. They don't freaking care. All they did is fire the guy who voiced a minor villain in Dragon Ball Z. How is that something to, oh, we're gonna completely split with you? Bull crap, man. What the fridge? Okay. I do get what you mean for this entirety could be just a voiceover, either just for fun or from an interview that didn't want people to hear. It's very common to be found on YouTube. One example is the Baby Lamb creation would be with Tom Kenny swearing in his SpongeBob voice. It went viral to be reanimated. It was pretty ridiculous since all he said is that, if it weren't for the Christmas, I wouldn't work. I'm guessing he was trying to be funny for an interview for an older audience. Exactly, man. Why is it so offensive? Why are you so shocked that cartoon characters make offensive jokes? It happens, dude. It always does. Okay. So now that I have that out of the way, now that we have settled this little controversy, now we can go and move on to our next story, in which we are gonna go into the stage. Yes, we're gonna be talking about theater. Disney theater to be precise. If you follow the news about theater, then you have probably heard about the news related to Hercules, that it may not be on Broadway, but Public Theater is teaming up with Disney in order to create a stage adaptation of Hercules, and it's going to be a pretty big production as well. It may not be on Broadway, but it will be as big as Broadway, especially with some of the people that are actually involved. There's a little bit of the main cast that has been revealed, and apparently one of the original actors who did work on the animated film will be coming back, but not in his original role, but kind of the opposite actually. And I'm talking about, of course, related to Roger Bart playing as Hades. Yes, Roger Bart, who is the original singing voice of Hercules, the guy who pretty much is the singer of Go the Distance, he is now going to be coming back to Hercules, but playing the role of Hades. There is also several different news that has been revealed related to this Hercules stage musical, where also they have revealed there are going to be several new songs that are going to be added to the show, along with the classics like I Won't Say I'm in Love, Zero the Hero, and Go the Distance, which are actually going to be done by David Zappel and Alan Menken. But they have also revealed who is going to play the role of Herc himself, which is actually going to be from Jelani Aladdin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. His last name, it is Aladdin, but instead of 2 D's, it's 2 L's. So maybe it's Jelani Aladdin. I do apologize if that's not how you say it. But yes, Jelani Aladdin will be playing Hercules. And funny enough, it's not necessarily his first time playing a Disney character on stage, for he actually is the original Kristoff in the Broadway version of Frozen. And when talking to the director, Lear D. Bissonnet, when talking about getting Roger Bart as Hades, Lear stated, Roger Bart is virtuosity in action. He's a master of musical comedy who also has enormous depth and access to emotion, making him dream casting for Hades. Plus, is an added Valentine for longtime lovers of the Disney film, especially our community members who are over the moon to be working with him. And that's pretty much the main thing, is the fact that Roger Bart is going to be the new Hades. And I just need to go and start things off by saying that, to be very honest, when it comes to Roger Bart, I freaking love the guy. Honestly, I feel like he is an underrated actor, or probably one of my favorite stage actors, since he doesn't really appear all that much on screen. Like, there are only very few movies that he has done. Yeah, there's Hercules, there's Frank Oz's Desperate House... Is it No, it's not Desperate Housewives. No. Oh, crap. Fudge nabbit, what's the name of it? It's something Housewives. Sisterhood of Housewives. What is it, man? Guy, yo, Chatwall, can you help me out on this? Roger Bart is in a movie, Stepford Wives. Thank you very much. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like, he has been in movies like Hercules, Stepford Wives, and also the 2005 movie of The Producers, but he is a lot more prominent on stage. He is a lot more of a stage person, but whenever he's in action, whenever he's acting, he is a massive delight. Especially, one of my favorite performances from this guy is actually as Carmen Gia from The Producers. And yes, I do mean the 2005 movie based on the Broadway musical, which he actually also is the original Carmen Gia in the Broadway version of the Producers. And oh my god, the guy is just absolutely amazing, especially as a duo with, you know, like seeing him with Roger Debris, which, by the way, I just need to say this, guys. I gotta do this. It might be it'll probably be the most controversial thing I will say in this episode, but Roger Debris and Carmen Gia are the best gay couple in cinema and stage history. Change my mind! I just had to go and put that out. I freaking love The Producers, by the way. So yeah, like, this guy definitely is a great actor, and whenever he's on stage or on screen, he is absolutely a delight. And hearing that he's going to perform as Hades, I can definitely see that it works. Now, I do understand that for many people, Hades is definitely one definitive image. When people would think of Hades, they can only think of the animated version played by James Woods. And essentially, that this is James Woods if he actually is Lord of the Underworld, if he really is kind of like the devil equivalent of Hercules, which, ironically enough, he pretty much is in real life right now. But in the situation of the animated film, yes, like with Hades, it's hard to really imagine anyone else playing the role. But with Roger Bart, I definitely do have confidence in him to perform amazingly as Hercules, but not necessarily in the way that has already been done in the animated film. I'm not expecting him to go and emulate what James Woods has already done. I'm imagining more that he's gonna put his own spin. Maybe like do like what he has already done in The Producers as Carmen Gia, and he would be more, well, I guess no pun intended, but he'll be much more of a flamboyant Hades, which would be absolutely perfect for the character. You know, it would be much like in the Aladdin Broadway musical, where with the genie, yeah, the actor or whoever is going to be playing the genie, they're not going to be playing him in the same way as Robin Williams did in the animated film. However, with their version that they would present, it's definitely unique, it's definitely a lot of fun, and it shares the same kind of energy. So that's why I have a lot of confidence with Roger Bart playing as Hades. He's not going to be like James Woods, but he'll definitely project the same energy and the same level of fun that James Woods has when he did Hades in Hercules. So that's one thing that I feel like it really is something to look forward to in this, and especially with all the other elements, especially with new songs by Alan Menken and David Zappel, two people in which, like, they are very familiar with working with Disney movies, so they will put their own magic into it that will be extremely similar to many of the other songs. I think, honestly, what's gonna end up over here is gonna be a fan favorite thing. Like, it is gonna start off with public theater, but I would, honestly, I feel like it would not be hard to imagine that immediately afterwards, it will find its way on Broadway. Like, this is just to test the waters to see if a Hercules stage musical can work out, and if it does, it's gonna be a big name on Broadway. I can see this totally work, especially when many people do say that with the animated film of Hercules, it already feels like it's made for the stage already, that they took a Broadway script and decided, okay, let's just turn that into an animated film. It already feels that way. So I'm sure maybe it could definitely work out if they do bring it out there one day. But honestly, even with that, I definitely do have a lot of great confidence in this Hercules stage musical. So far, they got the right actors with Roger Bart and Jelani Aladdin as well. The guy already did a good job with Frozen, so coming back with another Disney character, I think that already means a good thing. Oh, and on a side note, it does seem like there is another one I forgot to mention, I do apologize, that apparently Josh Keaton is also going to be in the show, or... Oh no, never mind, sorry. I didn't read it fully, my mistake. It says the original Hercules film also featured Josh Keaton as the teenage Hercules speaking voice and Tate Donovan as the adult voice. Okay, never mind. But no, honestly, honestly, I am pretty curious to know when this is coming out. Hopefully it will be, I think it is going to be soon, but yeah, honestly, this seems like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the stage adaptation of Hercules. So with that said, though, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I want to ask, what do you guys think about having Roger Bart playing the role of Hades, and how do you feel about a Hercules stage musical? Is this something that you guys would like to watch? Is this something that you're not interested? Let me know what you guys think so far. Okay, let's see. Oh, wow. We don't have... people don't really have much of a comment to say right over here. Let's see. Well, the feeling that's better suited for the Broadway stage than the live-action film productions. Yeah, I guess you can say that. Let's see. I think Roger Bart is a great actor, amazing, spectacular, and pretty handsome. I never thought of Hercules as a musical on stage. I expected Broadway, but it doesn't matter anyway. I have faith in Mr. Bart. I wish him the best of luck and hope that he gives some honor and homage to James Woods. At least Roger playing Hades isn't the same situation as Will Smith as the genie. Oh, yeah. Nah, I don't think Roger Bart is going to go as far and, put in some random beatbox in the musical numbers, which, on a side note, I do have confirmation, by the way, that one of the new songs that is going to be in this Hercules stage musical, it will be from Hades. So for the first time, we will have a legitimate Hades song coming from this. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh dear, I bet this casting choice is going to attract a lot of angry Hercules fans who associate with James Woods as Hades the same way they would associate Robin Williams as the genie. But they got to remember that there's a difference between voice acting and stage acting. Absolutely freaking not. It's kind of the opposite. Honestly, this is something that's for the Hercules fans, the fans of the movie. They will love the fact that one of the original actors are going to be coming back. And they know that they can never bring back James Woods anyways as Hades, because I think he officially stated that he quit acting. So he's never going to come back as Hades. So if we're going to get a new one anyway, so why not get someone like Roger Bart? Why not get one of the original people? It's not going to get angry fans. It's going to get a lot of happy fans. Okay, so, do we have any more? I think this might work. I also think Prince of Egypt could work as well. I know I mentioned that many podcasts ago. Well, I mean, if you just do a Google search, you're in luck, because with the Prince of Egypt, I can say right now that it already exists. You don't have to wonder any longer, and I think it's going to be pretty soon that the Prince of Egypt will be coming on Broadway. I don't think, I know that it is doing off-Broadway, or I think at one point it did off-Broadway, but eventually, Broadway time will soon happen for the Prince of Egypt. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go and jump onto our next story that we have over here. And for the next story, we are going to be discussing, believe it or not, about a video game. Yes, we're going to be changing things up a little bit, but it will stay within the realm of animation. In fact, we're still sticking into the realm of Disney, because this has been a long time rumor, but now it seems that Disney decided to come out of the woodworks and decided to confirm that this rumor is indeed true. And I am talking, of course, about Aladdin and the Lion King. Yes, it has been officially confirmed. Disney is going to be releasing something that is called Disney Classic Games Aladdin and the Lion King, which is going to be coming out for the Xbox One, the PS4, and for the Nintendo Switch. And I do find it a little bit amusing looking into the cover, because in my source here on IGN, they did officially release the cover for it, and it's kind of funny where it's really noticeable that they're just recycling materials for the Blu-ray covers. Like, this is going to be the cover of Aladdin for the upcoming Signature Edition, and I know that this is the Lion King that they use for the Signature Edition, and I think for the previous editions as well, like the Diamond Edition, or at least like with Rafiki, Timon, and Pumbaa on the bottom over here. So yeah, that's basically the main thing. We are getting Aladdin and the Lion King coming back. Now, this is actually going to be a port. It's not necessarily a remake, because I'm sure people would be absolutely panicking if the Disney remake syndrome has gotten so bad that it's starting to affect their video games as well. But in this case over here, this is actually going to be a port based on the classic 16-bit games, which, if you follow video game culture, then you might have heard about the 16-bit games of Aladdin and the Lion King, and how many people do have fond memories of them, and how many of them would say that they are actually good and sometimes even difficult video games. So apparently, in terms of the list of games that we are getting, it's not just those two games in particular. It's not just Aladdin and the Lion King. We're getting several versions. First off, we're getting, like, for the Aladdin side, we're getting the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin. We are getting the Game Boy version of Aladdin. We are getting the Final Cut of Aladdin, which it states that, not even IGN doesn't even know what it is. And we are also getting the trade show demo. This is going to be the first time since 1993 that they are going to be presenting this game, and finally now it will be out in the public. But then you also got the Lion King, and for those games we got the Sega Genesis version, the Super Nintendo version, and also the Game Boy version. So in total, we have about 7 games that are going to be available. And on top of that, they have also stated that the people who made this little collection, Digital Eclipse, which is also the same people who are responsible for Mega Man Legacy Collection and Disney Afternoon Collection, they have also revealed there is going to be some new nice bonuses that are going to be involved with this game. These include upscaled graphics, filter for visual enhancement, interactive game viewer that lets you watch a pre-recorded play and jump into the game at any time, just like in SNK 40th Anniversary Collection, a rewind feature so you can undo your mistakes on the fly, an explorable museum of behind-the-scenes development assets including interviews, art gallery, and a music player. It has also revealed that the game is going to be coming out on October 29th of this year, and it will go on retail at a surprisingly low price of $29.99 US. So $30 gets you 7 games, which is honestly a pretty amazing deal. And honestly, looking into this, I guess I do kind of get it as like a little thing to get on the side, because as I've previously stated before, this is something that in gaming culture you probably have heard about, the game adaptations of Aladdin and the Lion King, especially when, believe it or not, this was something that even Disney themselves actually got involved. Like, the Disney animation team actually did give a lending hand in terms of the production of these games, in order to create The Lion King and Aladdin, in order to go and produce original art that would pretty much be in tone and be very similar to the art style that we have received in the movies like Aladdin and The Lion King. And with the games themselves, like, this was back in the day when Blockbuster used to be a popular thing, so from there, that would be the reason that, like, people would commonly just rent it, and on purpose, they would go and make things a little bit more difficult, so they wouldn't just rent it and complete the game for themselves. Like, they would try to make things difficult, so they would have to buy the game so they could have it as long as they want in order to go and finish it. This is especially the case with The Lion King. If you talk to gamers, then they would probably tell you stories about how they try to go and fight off against the infamous level with the monkeys. Apparently, the monkey level in The Lion King is just crazy hard. But still, they are the thing is that these games, even though they are like based on, like, these are movies, these are games that are based on movies, and those things usually have a bad reputation, a lot of people do have fond memories of it, and they do have a cult following. So it makes sense. It makes sense for them to go and have it and to, replay their old games all over again, but in the new consoles and in a new way as well, with the new enhancements that they would add on, and especially like in HD and all that kind of crazy stuff. But in this case here, I also find it pretty useful for gamers that are that are a little too young to have actually experienced playing Aladdin and The Lion King. Like, those who were born after those times, but they probably have heard about it through video game reviewers, or they have seen Let's Players play the games, and they would be curious themselves. At least this way, it's going to open an opportunity for them to go and actually play it. And especially the fact that this is only $30, which in this day and age, like, it's pretty surprising, because usually they would be at, like, what, $69.99, or like in Canada, I know they're $80 a piece. Like, just $30 for 7 games, that's actually kind of amazing. So I don't know if it's something I'll necessarily go and buy myself. I don't know if it's like a must-get as much as something like Smash Bros. Ultimate, or Mario Odyssey, or Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's just like a nice little addition to have. And honestly, I just feel like it's a cool and cute convenience to let players re-experience those classic games all over again, and to see for themselves why they have often been known to be considered classics. Now, for me, I pretty much started gaming during the 64-bit era, and for me, I have never actually played Aladdin and The Lion King, but it does make me a little bit curious, and to see for myself, like, how these games are, considering I've heard a lot about these games. I've heard a lot of reviewers talk about them. I think the Game Grumps even played something like Aladdin or The Lion King or something like that. I think they might have played, like, they played one of them for sure. But in this situation, it does make me a little bit curious, and it does, I feel like it is pretty nice that it does give people the option to actually go and experience it, just like what they did with Mega Man Legacy Collection, and even especially with the Disney Afternoon Collection, so that they can go and play those games. It's pretty much the same purpose as that, because we have all heard about many of the stories, and like how games such as DuckTales and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, they've gathered such a massive cult following, and some would even go as far and say that it's some of the best Capcom games that's ever been created. So at least with the Disney Afternoon Collection, they can go and see for themselves how these games are. So that's pretty much the same purpose with these two games, based on two classics of the Disney Renaissance era. Is it something that I'm going to buy? Well, not necessarily as a massive priority, but it does seem interesting, and I do kind of appreciate its existence for a new generation to see how these games are gonna go. So yeah, you know what? I'm not, maybe I'll own it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the bigger question is, are you guys gonna go and buy this? And that's what I want to ask the chat wall right now. What do you all think of Disney classic games, Aladdin and The Lion King? Is this something that you guys would go and immediately buy? Is this something that you feel like Maybe it's worth your money? Do you think it's just a waste? Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see now. I haven't played the Aladdin game, but I did play the Lion King game as a kid, and I will admit, the monkey level was very hard. If there is one game I wish they did, the Switch thing is the 1995 Disney Gargoyles game. Well, maybe that would have been a part of the Disney Afternoon one, but I don't know. Maybe we'll find a new life one day. Let's see now. This is looking pretty good. $30 sound like a sweet deal to me. I'm not sure if the visuals and graphics are going to be remastered, but for kids who were born after the Disney game decade, it will introduce a new generation for kids and new gamers to experience this. I might buy this, but only for the PS4 version if I get a PS4 for Christmas. Okay, that's nice. Let's see. Yes, I really want this game. I never played these two games. I really want it. I can't wait. I wish DreamWorks would do the same. But then again, I don't think DreamWorks has any cult following games. I mean, sure, like, maybe they could re-release all the Shrek games for new consoles, but I think that would be much more of a joke. I don't, like, have we, that's honestly a good question. Have we ever gotten a legitimately good game based on a DreamWorks movie? That's honestly a good question. Let's see. I've never gotten the chance to play these games as a kid, so I'm glad I'm finally getting the chance since it's coming to the PS4. Alright, that's nice. I'm really excited for this. I grew up with both of these games on the Genesis. If it wasn't for Luigi's Mansion 3, I would get this in October. I hope they re-release Toy Story and Jungle Book in the future. Honestly, I feel like if this does get pretty popular, like if Disney Classic Games, Aladdin and Lion King does sell well for Disney, then it wouldn't surprise me that they could continue this little legacy, that they would continue to resell games like Toy Story and the Jungle Book onto new consoles. I guess that's going to be something that we will have to wait and see if they are going to go and just, re-release many of their classic games. Instead of making new ones, they could just re-release their old ones. And if they're going to keep doing that, call me when you're going to re-release Epic Mickey or make a remastered Epic Mickey. Okay, so with that said, there is still one more story to go. Yes, it is time that we are about to get into the grand finale. And with this one, oh boy, do we have an interesting story for you today, because this is something that is making animators angry. This is something that it's not necessarily dividing the internet, because it seems like the entire animation community is pretty unanimous that this guy is just screwing animators over. And the man who I am talking about is not, some people are saying that, oh, this is going to be big. You cannot get any more bigger than Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, Shaquille O'Neal has officially made an announcement that for his new show, Shaq Life, he is opening up a contest for animators to go and make some animations based on some of his stories for a chance to get those animations to appear onto television. And in fact, let me just go and let Shaq himself tell you a little bit about this little contest. So,
hey everyone, it's Shaq. That's right, animators. I'm gonna make you famous.
Man, that always makes me laugh. That's right, animators. I'm gonna make you famous. Yeah, like you need the help of Shaquille O'Neal to make an animator famous. So that's basically the main thing, is that so basically you gotta go and pick one of the stories that Shaquille O'Neal would tell in one of his episodes of his show. You gotta go and animate it, and you might get a chance to actually have it appear. In fact, let me go and read the Twitter page. Is this the one? Yes, okay, yeah, this is it. On his Twitter, Shaquille O'Neal has stated, "Are you an animator or artist? Visit ShaqToons.com to download one of my stories and use it as the inspiration for an original cartoon that you draw to life. If selected, you'll be awarded $500 and your animation will be shown on my new show, Shaq Life. Good luck." And on top of that, for those of you who are curious, what is Shaq Life to begin with? Hold on a sec. There we go. Now that I got that out of my system, it is stated here that Shaq Life will offer viewers unprecedented access to the day-to-day of what goes into the business of being Shaquille O'Neal. Fans can come along for the ride as the literal entertainment giant zips from a DJ gig in Las Vegas to the NBA award show, from Big Chicken Shaq to a TV commercial shoot, and even amid the waves as he dons his Chief Fun Officer cap for Carnival Cruise Ship. So that's basically the whole thing about Shaq Life, is that we just see the regular life of Shaq and the crazy shenanigans that he would get himself into, whether it be as a DJ or hosting an award show or being in a commercial or whatever. Just see like all the weird, crazy things that Shaquille O'Neal would do. And sometimes there are some stories that Shaquille O'Neal would go and tell, and from there, Shaquille O'Neal would, he would tell these stories, but he would need some animations. And that's where you would come in as an animator, where you would do the animation for him for a chance to have it appear on TV and maybe make a little bit of money on the side. And I just gotta say, it's pretty obvious that there is a massive backlash against that. In fact, here, let me just go into the tweet itself, and holy crap, a lot of people are like really mad about this. Like, just people, like, yeah, and even Saber Sparks is just there going like, animators are saying, no, I don't think I will. So yeah, you can see that there is just an enormous backlash where people are just saying absolutely not. And actually, I just want to double check on something. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, there is even something about a terms of service, which I will get back into. But looking into this, yeah, I can definitely see why animators are pretty upset about this, because the more I think about it, the more that I really do feel like this is a massive lose-lose situation for animators. Because here's the thing. Here's the situation. Because let's say you do get to actually go and animate this. Let's say you actually have to go and do the animation. If it's something that is like, if the stories themselves are just like 10 minutes or less, then it doesn't necessarily give you that much exposure. It doesn't really give you that much time to have your animations appear in the actual TV show. It's just going to be something that will come and go absolutely quickly, and it would almost be like your animation would not be there. But if it is something that's like 30 seconds long, or if it's like a full minute that you have to go and animate, then that means Shaquille O'Neal is asking their animators to do something that's just so long. You know, they're like, Shaquille O'Neal is asking for animators to work so hard at a very short deadline, by the way. One thing that I forget to mention is the fact that these Shaq tunes, you have to go and submit them by Friday, September 20th. That pretty much leaves animators with only 3 weeks to go and do their entire animation. That doesn't give them much time. So imagine, if it is like 30 seconds long or a full-on minute long, the animators have to work like hours on end just for a chance to have it appear on television. Not like a guaranteed thing, just a chance that maybe Shaquille O'Neal might select that animation to be put up onto his TV show, and that's pretty much it. And in the case of Shaq, with what they're doing here, I think it's pretty obvious why Shaquille O'Neal is asking the help of animators to go and actually create this. I think it's pretty clear as to why Shaq wants to go and do this. And the reason is honestly because of the money. That's all it is. It's the element of money. And all you have to do is just do the math to understand what is going on. Like, why is this nothing but the money? Because, as Shaq has stated, the prize of being selected is $500, and you get your animation to appear on TV. So that's pretty much the thing. So if you go into Shaq Tunes, however, if you go into the actual website, and let's say you want to go and download a story, it actually, like, yeah, there's the registration here, but then it would go and say in the bottom, oops, sorry, you can't even read that like this. Fill out the form below to access 13 different true stories from Shaq's past. listen to the stories, choose which one you would like to bring to life, and create your animated short. Once you completed your work, come back to the site and upload the clip. If selected, your Shaq toon could be featured on an episode of Shaq Life, coming soon to TBS or TNT. I guess they don't know which one. Maybe TNT, maybe TBS. It's going to be one of them. But there are 13 of them. They're saying that there are 13 different stories that people could animate that will appear throughout the entire series. Not only one episode, but throughout the entire show. Or at the very least, if Shaq Life does become successful, then throughout the entire season. So if we do the math now, that's pretty much 13 different stories. That means 13 different winners that will get $500. That means the animation budget of Shaq Life is $6,500. Now, at that point, I would understand if the case would be that this is a local regional television station for a small TV show. Like, on that aspect, maybe I can understand. But this is not the case over here. This is a TV show that's starring a major celebrity, Shaquille O'Neal, that's going to be on a big company national broadcast station that is owned by Warner Media. I think it is safe to say that we all know very well that both Warner Media and Shaq have more than enough money to go and hire an actual animation studio to go and do Shaq's little Shaq toons. So that's the thing. It's all for the purpose of being cheap with the money. I'm not going to go and accuse Shaquille O'Neal of making a scam. Shaq is not a con artist in this case. Shaq is a cheapskate. That's the main thing. Warner Media and Shaq are just being absolute cheapskates in this scenario. Like, so much of a cheapskate that even Mr. Krabs is looking at this news going, bruh. Like, it really is that bad. And also, I just would like to add, there is also one more element that is even worse for animators, and that actually does lie in the terms of service, which some people actually did discover in, when they actually did share on Shaq's Twitter feed. Which it actually, and I'm just going to go and read this out. It might take a little while, but bear with me, folks. You'll understand. By submitting user-generated content to the site, you grant TNT and its parents, subsidiaries, or affiliates a non-exclusive, sub-licensable, irrevocable, and royalty-free worldwide license under all copyrights, trademarks, patents, trade secrets, privacy and publicity rights, and other intellectual property rights to use, reproduce, transmit, print, publish, publicly display, exhibit, distribute, redistribute, copy, index, comment on, modify, adapt, translate, create derivative works based upon publicity, perform, make available, and otherwise exploit such user-generated content in whole or in part, in all media format and channels not known or hereafter devised, including on television and on third-party sites on social media platforms, for any purpose, including without limitation, trade, advertising, promotional, and commercial purposes, without further notice to you, with and without attribution, and without requirement of permission from or payment you or any other person of entry. So basically, what that means is that if you're an animator and you submitted your animation to the Shaqtoons thing, that's no longer yours. That is now the property of TNT and Warner Media, and they are allowed to do whatever they want with it. Even if they don't select yours as the winner, they are still allowed to go and take your animations and do whatever they want, and even capitalize on your animations. Put it up on their social media sites, put it up on YouTube, put it up on commercials. Whatever it is, you're pretty much handing your animation to them for free if you are not the winner. That's the big catch of it. And even for you yourself, now that it belongs to Warner Media, that means you don't get to own it. You're not allowed to go and put your you're not allowed to upload your animation yourself if you if you don't win the contest. That's pretty much their thing. You're uploading their thing. So that's the problem. Like, you're not allowed to use you're not allowed to use it however you want, because now it is the property of TNT and Warner Media. So that's really something that animators need to keep note on, how they could possibly be screwed over. It really is the fact that they are taking the massive risk that they could just be laboring hours of their time to make something for a big corporation for free. And that's pretty much it. But the craziest thing, though, is that there actually is a little update coming from this. And it actually came a day after that this whole news was actually announced. Because apparently a lot of people really did give Shaquille O'Neal some massive backlash. But then suddenly, he posted another tweet as it states, "To all my animators out there, I heard you. I love your work and want you to feel the love. If your cartoon is selected, you'll be awarded $10,000 and your animation will be shown on my new show, Shaq Life. Can't wait to see what you got." Yeah, I can honestly do a little better Shaq impression than that, but for now, it'll be the best that I can do. But yeah, apparently just one day later, Shaquille O'Neal decided to go, okay, $500 isn't enough. How about we just go $10,000 if yours gets selected? So pretty much jumping the budget, pretty much boosting the animation budget from $6,500 to $130,000. And the thing is, Shaq is still getting some backlash over this. You're still getting a lot of people in the animation community just upset of Shaquille O'Neal that they're still doing this. And on top of that, like, I think honestly the addition of making $10,000 after proposing $500 really is a bit of a slap in the face and a massive confirmation of how Shaquille O'Neal is such a both Shaq and Warner Media are such massive cheapskates. You mean to tell me that you got a bunch of $10,000 just on the side that you can easily spare out when you you have so much money that you could spare when you originally offered just $500? Come on, man. That's just low. That's just low, dude. I look at this and I'm like, dude, come on. Really? How is it that you can just so easily go from 500 to 10,000? That's a bit of an extreme. Maybe it's a bit better, but it doesn't get rid of the massive problem, and that is the freaking element of the contest. The fact that you're making animators work tirelessly, you're pretty much asking for animators to work tirelessly for 3 weeks, and all that just for a chance to have their animation to possibly appear on your TV show. And that, it's just insane, because and from there, they're still taking that risk that maybe the Warner Brothers, or most likely in this case, since there could be many people who would go and submit to Shaquille O'Neal for their little cartoon and stuff like that, that they are taking the high risk that Warner Media is just going to go, oh, cool, free animation. Now we can go and do whatever we want with it. Now we can just exploit the living crap out of it. I mean, when things are bad, when even the terms and services literally say that Warner Media is allowed to go and exploit their animations even if they don't get paid the $10,000 prize. So that's the thing. It's not about the money. It's really the element of the contest itself that it just really seems very shady and just it just feels like an excuse for Shaquille O'Neal to get free animations. Sure, he has to pay the winners, and he would have to spend a total of $130,000, but still, on the side, he's still getting a whole bunch of other animations from other artists and animators who spent 3 weeks of their time trying to do animations just for the promise of having it air on TV, and that's it. And it's not gonna be, and trust me, I feel like, honestly, it's something that it's not gonna make Shaquille, it's not gonna make the animators themselves famous, because the people who are gonna be watching Shaq Life, they're not gonna be there to watch the animated bits. They're mainly there for Shaquille O'Neal. They're not gonna care about who was the animator of this episode in particular. They're mainly gonna care about Shaquille O'Neal and the crazy shenanigans that he would get into. That's the main thing of this whole, that's the main thing why people would want to watch Shaq Life in the first place. And I would just say right now, if Shaquille O'Neal really wants to try to go and solve the situation, if he wants to make peace with the animators, then he shouldn't do a contest. He needs to make this as a job. He needs to present this like this is a job for animators. Like, why not just ask animators to go and give them their portfolios, show them their animated bits, and maybe if they get selected, they'll be the ones to go and do the animations. That way, the animators won't waste their time to go and do an animation that maybe will appear in Shaquille O'Neal's show. And that's kind of the main thing. That's why this is so controversial in the animation community. It's mainly because of the element of time. Because if you know anything about the process of animation, you know that for artists and animators, time is a very valuable thing, especially when they would have to work on major projects and they always have to face deadlines. Deadlines is kind of like the biggest enemy of artists and animators. So for them, time is honestly very precious, and what Shaquille O'Neal is pretty much asking with these Shaqtoons is nothing but a complete waste of animators' times, especially all for the purpose of a small chance to have it appear on TV and maybe some money at the same time. Like, I can guarantee you for a fact that animators will no way try to produce animations for a big corporation for free. Which, that seems to be the participation prize that TNT and Warner Media are pretty much offering in this case. So, overall, it's like I said, I don't think Shaquille O'Neal is a scam artist. He's not being a con artist here. He's just being an absolute cheapskate. And I can completely understand why this is getting so much backlash just for freaking Shaqtoons. And on a side note, I just gotta say, yeah, no, I'm like, if anybody is really gonna ask, I'm not gonna be watching Shaqtoons. You know, I'm not like a major, like, Shaquille O'Neal fan, like, oh my god, Shaquille O'Neal is my idol. I'm not gonna go and do that. This is just honestly that I feel like it's just stupid, really. That's all it is. This just sounds like a really stupid show, and the way that Shaq is trying to get animators to do his show and stuff like that, honestly, all this just sounds dumb. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, what do you all think about the Shaqtoons controversy? Is this something that you guys would like to go and participate in? Do you think this is stupid? Do you think it's a bright idea? Let me know what you all think about this. Okay, now, and I thought the Kickstarter for Mr. Enter's $300,000 growing around and John K's $136,000 cans without labels was embarrassing. As an animator myself, it takes me a month or two to make 10 minutes of animation, and it takes me 3 days a week to make 1 minute. Keep in mind, it's not very fluid. In fact, I was once entered in a contest that offered $50,000 for just a 3-minute animated short. Of course, it didn't win, but at least it was a better offer than whatever Shaq had for this. And also, I just want to put in on a side note is that I'm not forcing anyone to not go and submit an animation for this contest. I do not have any power whatsoever onto animators or something like that. If there's someone who actually wants to do an animation for Shaqtoons, that's their decision, more power to them, whatever. I'm just giving out a warning that this is something that they shouldn't do, that honestly this is a bad idea, and that your time is way better off doing something else. And also on a side note, like if you want something to do if you want to participate in an animated project that is much more worth your time, then go and do a reanimated project, because that's starting to become really popular. Like, at least with reanimated projects, sure, you might not get monetary compensation depending on who's in charge of it, but at the very least, you are gonna go, like, your animation will be guaranteed to be highlighted in that little reanimated project. That would be a guarantee. So that's why it's much better than doing Shaqtoons, where maybe you can get it, maybe it might air on television, maybe it won't. Maybe you might end up doing it for free and Warner Media will do whatever they want with it. And that's the major risk that you have to take with it. I understand that this is supposed to help get animators recognition, but I should say animator because the problem is the compilation is for one animator recognition, and 3 weeks will not have enough time and not giving the animator the share of the animation. Really, even though fixing 500 to 100 to 10,000, that won't fix what has already been broken. Shaq and TNT should look and hire animators if they want to do this, because this is a huge problem. Exactly. Like, they shouldn't make this a full freaking contest. Get an animation studio, Shaq. We know you got the money. Just get a freaking animation studio. That's all we're asking, man. Come on, give people jobs. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? Oh boy, a lot of people really do have something to say. I smell a scam. I feel that Shaq is going to screw the animators. One person gets paid. Everyone, well, technically 13, but one person gets paid. Everyone else delivers royalty-free animations and designs for the company to exploit for any reason. Forever without credit, for free. Animators can't even post their own work on their websites. The amount of money isn't what's causing the folks to be so mad about this. It's the fact that you're pushing folks to do actual work, but are labeling it as a contest. No one trusts celebrities anymore as a society. Yeah, that could be the thing, man. Especially that now there's a lot more recognition for the well-being of animators. This is not helping at all. I mean, yeah, honestly, like, say what you will about Space Jam, but this is honestly, Michael Jordan has a much better time interacting with animation than what Shaquille O'Neal is trying to do here. Let's see. I just find this whole thing sketchy. This is the kind of thing that keeps me away from the big studios. I would rather have $100 a month over a flat fee of $500. At least I have financial freedom. Yeah, that definitely is true, actually. Getting a monthly salary is much better than getting something immediate, like, okay, here's your money, there you go, and that's pretty much it. So, honestly, I just feel like this whole situation is just, it's a bit ridiculous. Okay, let's see. I think this is dumb for Shaq to create a show and a Cheapskate at the same time. He doesn't need to bring in animators to make some animation for him for free, so I think this is a dumb thing to do. Although I don't trust him when it comes to acting in other films except for Uncle Drew, I think he should have brought in an animation studio instead. And I think that is kind of the moral of the story, is that Shaq should hire a freaking animation studio. Don't make contests, actually hire people. Because honestly, getting a job feels much better than winning a contest, especially for artists and animators. And with that said, I think that should go and conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. So I just want to go and say thank you guys so much for watching this. This has definitely been a blast. And maybe next week we will still have a lot more fun. So I just would like to say thank you guys so much for listening. And thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes!